Another value that I have is legacy, right? I think in the beef industry, so here's my two boys, and I want to make sure that 20 years from now, 50 years from now, if they choose, there's a beef industry for them to be a part of. You know, when my dad was growing up as a teenager, every summer he would work as a sheep herder for his uncle. You know how many sheep there are around my hometown these days? Not very many. You know, there's probably some club lambs, and that's probably about it. So I want to make sure that there's a legacy for these boys to inherit. The beef industry, we value this. That's why we give awards like Century Awards, Bicentennial Awards, 5-generation farms, those type of things. We value and we award people for this perseverance, for this sustained success. You know, there came this buzzword, sustainability, and I really appreciate NCBA for redefining this word in a way that works for the beef industry. So I like the definition that they use, that sustainability is profit, some of the values you talked about at the beginning, environmentally conscious, so we want to make sure that we're using these resources in an appropriate and acceptable manner, and then in a socially conscious way. We want to make sure that when a producer, when a consumer goes to the meat counter and buys beef, they can do so with clear conscience, knowing that that animal was grown in a way in which their animal welfare was appropriate. You know, by 2050, the projections are that we'll need to feed 9 billion people, and so the worldwide population continues to grow. The other thing that we're seeing is that as third world countries develop their economy and have a higher standard of living, they want more of that beef product. So we need to make sure that we are optimizing our ability to produce beef. This rejection or this avoidance of technology has an opportunity cost. Okay? If we don't use the technology, we're leaving resources on the table. So if we look at a genetic trend for marbling for one of the breed associations, we see from 1995 up until 2008, we see a pretty steady trend in improvement in genetic merit for marbling. In 2008, they had some genetic defects discovered in that breed, and what happened is there were some outdated policies that didn't utilize new technologies that limited the way in which breeders could manage that genetic defect. And so because of the way, based on that breed's bylaws, that genetic defect was managed, they basically lost steam for 3 years for genetic trend for that trait, and it took them a couple of years to get back to where they should have been. Basically, they didn't get back to where they should have been. They lost from 2008, and they finally got back to where we would have projected them to be by 2014. Okay, so there is an actual cost of not doing things according to how science and technology which suggest that we should do them.